Hi there and welcome to the show. My name is Athol, smart guy on the internet, answering your questions about love, sex, happiness, and anything. So let's jump into it. Alrighty. Hello. Hope you doing well. Actually, I really need your help. I really deeply love a guy whose age is 37 and my age is 24, and I want to marry him, but he not agree cause of our age gap. He said if I get married, you people laugh at me. What shall I do? Question mark. How I convince him? Question mark. Okay, so there's some poor grammar here, but basically the guy is 35, the girl is 24. She wants to get married, she's attracted, he doesn't. Okay, so here's the short answer to that. I kind of suspect that you're probably being played to some degree. And I've seen this connection where the girl really wants to get married and the guy doesn't, and there's this sort of deflection and refusal to do it. So the two things to consider here is, one, whether or not he really does want to get married to anyone, and then assuming the answer to question one is yes, what type of girl, what type of woman does he actually want to get married to? So if you're in love with this guy and he has no interest in getting married to anyone, he has no interest in getting married at all, he's going to come up with this sort of array of excuses and deflections, some of which is going to be about him, some of which is going to be about you. It is going to be sort of saying it's all circumstance, that there's going to be some different reasons, just reasons can't get married for whatever reason. But still, you can stay being a girlfriend and we can keep having sex and we can keep doing what we're doing, because that's great. So if the answer to question one is he just doesn't want to get married to anyone, that means if you're waiting on him to just suddenly magically decide that he wants to marry you, you could be in for an incredibly long wait. I mean, it can be years, it can be decades, and there's no guarantee, no assurance that he's ever going to change his mind. Which means if you're 24 and then you're waiting, and then you're 25 and then you're waiting, and you're 26, 27, 28, 29, you can basically wait out the best sort of window of opportunity in your dating life to find someone to have the relationship you want. And in a sense, you can waste the pretty, you can waste your best, most perfect, highest attractive years, and you can miss out on somebody else that you might have actually had. So assuming he does want to get married or is wanting to be married to someone, the second question is, to who does he want to get married? What's the type of girl that he wants to get married to? And here's the other layer of problem. If he does want to get married, but he's also then coming up with a bunch of reasons about why he can't get married, that means he's already decided he doesn't really want to marry you. He's open to it. He would like to maybe one day, but you're not the one. And again, you can wait until you figure out whether or not he decides you're the one or not the one or whatever it is, but you could be in for an incredibly long wait. And often what happens in these situations, and I've seen this dozens and dozens of times, boyfriend, girlfriend, living together, she's put constant pressure. When do I get married? When do we do this? And he's always come up with reasons. He's against it. It's just a piece of paper. Doesn't know why he should. And then when she finally loses her temper with him and says, you either got to marry me or we're through, and he says, okay, we're through, it's incredibly common that within 6 to 12 months of that primary relationship breaking up, 6 to 12 months, he's already engaged to somebody else. And it's at that moment that the girl realizes it's not that he didn't want to get married. It's that he didn't want to get married to me. And that's the incredibly heartbreaking sort of slap in the face of reality. And especially if you're wasted years upon years upon years. I mean, the truth is, if he wanted to marry you, and he's 37 and you're 24, if he wants to marry you, he is going to get into action, and he is going to pop the question, and he's going to try and make it all happen. Because when you're 37 and you have a 24-year-old that is interested in you, I mean, that means you've caught this young hottie that is into you, and if he's interested, wants to get married, he's going to take action to lock it down. He's not going to wait. And if anything, you would probably experience a greater sense of pressure from him to get married than any sense of pressure you have to get married. So, and then certainly, there may be a little bit of social, questioning, like, why is a 37-year-old marrying a 24-year-old? But it's usually a jealousy reaction as opposed to a humiliation and laughing at the 37-year-old. So when he says, if I marry you, people are going to laugh at me, that's just bullshit. No one is going to laugh at a 37-year-old guy for marrying a 24-year-old. They might look down on it. They may have a little bit of resentment and contempt, but no one is thinking he is a loser for marrying a 24-year-old. Other concerns that I have. A 13-year age gap is huge. So, I mean, I get that you can be attracted and you can want the relationship, but the further apart in age you are when you get married, the more concern that I have that some sort of divorce or breakup is going to happen. The wider the age gap, the more likely divorce is. So 13 years is fairly significant. 24 to 37 is pretty big. When you're 40, he is 53. It's a fairly big age gap. The other concern I have is I know it sort of feels nitpicky and it may come across as extremely petty, but the question that you wrote actually came across as really poor grammar. And I don't really mean to sound like a grammar Nazi, but when you write like this, and this is your form of written communication, if you're 24 and you're just hot and attractive, that makes you great girlfriend material. But when you have poor written English, that may well rule you out as being someone that a guy wants to marry. Because it's reflecting on your level of education, reflecting on your level of intelligence, and that may be a deal breaker to a fairly big number of guys. So I'm sure this sounds ultra harsh. Really consider paying a little more attention to your written English. You do not have to write poetry, you do not have to become a novelist, but at least get the basics together. Because that may well be the difference between marrying a guy or being in a relationship with someone who respects you for your intelligence and respects you for your personality, as opposed to just being interested in a short-term relationship and just being interested in your body and just wanting you for sex. And then when you are finally resentful enough or angry enough to demand more than that, eventually dumping you. So if you're 24 and you want a relationship with someone, you're towards the peak of your attractiveness. So if he's not into you now and he isn't wanting to be in a relationship with you now and really find ways to seek you out and kind of lock you down, and keep you in a relationship with him, he may well not be the one for you. So don't waste the pretty, don't waste the best years of your 20s. If you're really interested in finding a relationship, finding someone, become the sort of woman who's going to be the sort of woman that guys want to marry and be in a relationship with. And that's about it. So I'm going to leave it there. If you have a question for me, you can write me at askatholanything@gmail.com, and I'm happy to take your questions. And until then, wishing you all the love, sex, and happiness that you desire, and I will catch you next time. Alrighty, bye.